So first we have the Mage, right? Looks like, I don't know what class he's playing, but it looks like he's a Mage. And this is a video from Maplestory Classic World, the playtest that's going on right now, and it looks like it was filmed on the 22nd of January, so 2 days ago. So some of you may know, some of you may not. There's a closed beta test going on right now in LA for the Maplestory Classic that's coming out. I think it's in April, it might be in May, but here shortly it will be released. And there are some skill changes that came along with it, rebalancing buffs or whatever. So here in the first job tree of the Mage, you have improved MP recovery. And from what we can see here, it regenerates 1% of max MP every 10 seconds. And MP recovery from items and skill is also increased by a certain amount of percentage. And the master level is 15. So this was definitely revamped to make it a little bit more interesting and different. This was something that you would put points into, initially 3 points to go straight after the max MP increase. And it was kind of one of those skills that you put into later on just for the MP recovery rate. But now that it gives more MP with items, and I don't know what skill is going to increase the MP. Oh, maybe like MP Eater at second job advancement for clerics and mages. Maybe it'll have an effect on that and it'll be good, but I don't see why you would put 15 points initially into this skill. There's really no need. Other than if you want to like really maximize meso saving and you don't have a lot of money. At max level here, we can see that it increases MP recovery by 20% from an item. So if you consume a mana potion, it's going to give you 20 more percent. So instead of giving you 100 mana, it'll give you 120 mana. And essentially all of those things, over time, that effect will stack and allow you to save more mana. So save more meso. Let's look at max MP increase here. What do we see here? It looks like they definitely changed the skill. How it was in old school Maplestory, you would have to essentially raise the max MP increase first prior to leveling anything else, because the way the skill worked is that the sooner you level the skill in old school Maplestory, you would come out having more MP at higher level than your counterpart who did not level max MP increase first and prioritize something like Magic Claw or Energy Bolt. But I think they're changing that up now. I know there's some discussions that were being had about the issue of max MP increase. That issue of you had to level it, you had to prioritize it, and essentially give up your attack abilities to level this first, which made the leveling process a little bit more gruesome and boring and mundane. So now they've kind of changed that algorithm, so when you level it, it gives you just flat out more max MP. And I think this is in the right direction, so you don't have to necessarily put skill points for the first 5 levels into something that you won't use for the sake of, I guess, to make sure your character has more MP at the end of the day. Now it seems like it just gives a flat max MP percentage, which I think is a good thing overall. Looks like both of these skills are max level 15. One thing I've noticed from watching this video is that I watched this video and I did a commentary on it in Korean earlier. And I've noticed that they really like the number 15, especially with mages. Magic Guard is another skill that got definitely reworked. Saga says, I'm trying to subscribe to a membership, but Google wouldn't let me pay yet. I sent a ticket in. Will do so when I can. Thank you, Saga. I appreciate that, man. If you guys haven't checked out the membership yet, I recently became a paid partner with YouTube, and I'm unlocking new features and new ways to monetize my channel. And it helps a lot if you guys join the member and subscribe to my channel, of course, but also being a member of my channel. And so if you want to support me and have the leniency and the luxury, and if you can afford it, becoming a member unlocks you to new member only chat. You also get a members badge like Katie up there with the blue star badge. And in the future, I plan on having members only post where I can post a little bit about my personal life and maybe a photo of what I'm doing, a photo of the things that I see. Right now, my post on YouTube channel is strictly based on like my schedule and if I'm going to be on or not. And if I make a promise to people during my live stream that I'm going to post what I'm going to eat for dinner or lunch, you know, little things like that. But intermittently, I plan on making posts that are members only, where you can see a photo of me in my daily life outside of streaming schedule to get a little bit more personable. But anyways, let's get back to the video. I appreciate you, Saga. Thank you for the support. It helps tremendously in my morale and keeps me motivated. So Magic Guard has changed. I think the damage percentage is relatively the same, but what's different is that now it's a toggle. So Magic Guard used to be a buff that you would have to continuously put on yourself. And I think it's a good change that it has essentially turned from a buff to a toggle. You can turn it on and off. And that's how it kind of works anyway. It reduces the motion of going up to the top of your screen like this and turning off the skill when you don't need it. Because what happens is, as a mage, if you know for a fact that you're not going to get one-shotted, you would rather just take the damage, especially as a cleric and you have heal. If you have Magic Guard on, it uses a lot of meso and mana potion. So most of the time clerics will party with a spearman, use hyper body, get the expanded HP pool, and not use Magic Guard. They'll forego it. But now that it's a toggle, it's a little bit easier to kind of manage that. Magic armor seems relatively the same. Reduced weapon damage, reduced magic damage, pretty much same. This one, for the first three skills were max level 15, this one's gonna be the first skill to be max level 20. And it's pretty standard. Magic armor essentially is the same from old school Maplestory. Reduced damage taken either by weapon damage and magic damage. Not much has changed. So now he's showing us heal. This is the controversial one, right? So based on reading the skill, it says recovers the HP of all party members around the area. We know that. The amount of healing depends on the number of people being healed. So what they're going to do essentially with heal is they're going to do a distribution of heal to your party members. If your party is smaller, each member will get more heal. If you have a 6-man party, so I'm thinking of Ludi Party Quest, which is going to be a big one for when the game first comes out. If you have 6 people in your party fighting a Lishar, maybe the heal that comes from a cleric isn't going to be as dependable as we expect or as we're used to. It's going to heal a little less. And another thing that I've noticed about this skill is that at max level, so he'll get to a max level, let's speed it up until he gets to max level. The max level is still 30, but as you can see, max level has taken a huge chunk of a huge nerf. It used to be that one, everybody got healed the same, right? It did not evenly distribute to the amount of people you had in the party. Everybody just got a flat heal recovered, which was 300% in old school Maplestory. But as you can see here in Maplestory Classic, the recovery rate has dropped to 100%. And this doesn't really tell you much. Recovery rate, this vocabulary and this terminology is unique to heal. Everything else has a different word to explain the algorithm behind that skill, but in this skill there's no damage. Well, it does say it says undead monsters will receive damage. but it doesn't tell you how much damage it does or anything. Like, what is the damage or healing calculation? It just says recovery rate 100%. Not much. It doesn't tell me much. So this is going to be, we can tell that it got nerfed just by reading the skill description, that it's getting distributed. It has an element of distribution. So more people in your party, the less you get healed. Wasn't the case before, and now it is. So it definitely has changed. Recovery rate 100%. Just take it for what it is. Right now in Maple Land and in old school Maplestory, this was at 300%. So it's essentially 1/3 of the original skill. Another big one, Bless. Bless has been, I would say, buffed, right? So the issue with Bless, here was a big issue with Bless when it comes to clerics. Bless is a very good utility skill, support skill. Everybody loves Bless. It gave you accuracy, avoidability, weapon defense, and magic defense. Now the issue with Bless was that a lot of clerics and priests like to buddy up with spearmen, because the spearmen would expand their HP pool, keep them safe. They also had high damage at 3rd job advancement. So the synergy between, and spearmen also use a lot of HP, more so than any other warriors, but they did the most amount of damage. So with the buff like hyper body and a high amount of damage in 3rd job advancement, they worked really well with priests, who would give them Bless for accuracy, avoidability, and also would heal them if they got hurt. Hyper body would keep both of them safe. It was a great synergy. But one thing that was a flaw, and this is a systematic flaw, is that Bless and Iron Wall used by spearmen would clash. One buff, essentially Iron Wall was pointless, because Iron Wall would give you 20 weapon attack defense and 20 magic attack defense. And Bless, not in Maplestory Classic, but in old school Maplestory, would give you the accuracy, like it says here, avoidability, and instead of this new feature that they added, it would give you weapon defense buff and magic attack defense buff. And it was essentially the same as Iron Wall, so you would never use Iron Wall unless you're playing by yourself or were in a party without a priest, which is rare. It never happened. But in Maplestory Classic, I think they acknowledged that flaw, and instead of giving defensive boost, they've added this new feature, which is really interesting. HP recovery from items and skills is increased by 1%. And this is at level 1. So let's see what it does at level 30. We can get there. Let's look at that before. So Bless at max level gives you 20 accuracy, 20 avoidability, and 10% increased healing from items and skills. I think that's a win. I think that's a big win, because now Iron Wall has its place. And what they did, essentially, they nerfed the heal, but they brought in this skill called Bless and made the cleric more of a utility class than a solo mobbing class that used heal to mob undead and demon based monsters. So at first we were very worried, because we're going to get to it, but Holy Arrow essentially is a new mobbing skill, new attack skills that clerics have. And everybody, including myself, I don't think really liked the idea of turning the priest or the cleric into an attacker, into a soul. It felt like they were trying to push the cleric to be more independent and not have to rely on other parties. And there was a lot of mixed feelings about that. And I think majority of the players did not like that push. They wanted the cleric to essentially stay as the one and only unique support class that needed to depend on other classes to kind of play cleric. But now it all makes sense, because heal's been reduced, but Bless is such a big utility buff that once you have Bless on a party member, everybody's essentially getting 10% more heal. And it's not that much. It's still, the heal's still not going to heal like it used to, but I think it makes the cleric feel a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more active. It's not as passive as it used to be. When you were a cleric back in the day, level 40 cleric, and you're doing looty party quest, a cleric can heal you back up to full with one heal. When you got hit by a Lishar, a boss, you could heal that character and they would get the full heal. Essentially, if you stayed around the cleric, you were not going to die. But now, clerics have to be a little bit more mindful of keeping their bless up on their party, and the heal is not going to heal as much. And I have a feeling healing your party with bless up and healing your party with bless down is going to feel, you're going to be able to feel that physically as you're playing. So keep maintaining bless active at all times is going to be crucial, not only for damage sake and avoidability and all this utility sake, but for the sustaining of their life and keeping them alive. So I think what it does is it takes the mundane training away from clerics by just making them be a pocket healer. And when they're done with looty party quests or other type of party quests, where did they go at level 50, 51? They all head to Dead Tree, the Forest of the Dead Trees too, to kill the zombies. And they use heal to mob on those zombies and solo grind because they don't have Holy Symbol all the way up to level 72. But I think with the introduction of Holy Arrow, and heal still does damage, but with the introduction of Holy Arrow, which you guys will see here in a bit and what it does, I think you have more variety on places that you could go. You were already solo grinding anyway, from level 50 to like 82. When you have to master, before you master Holy Symbol, nobody really wanted you in a party, you know. And a lot of players in KMS and Mapleland, they don't take Orbis party quest that seriously. I would love to take it seriously in Maplestory Classic. I would love to do a lot of party quests. An extension of Looty Party Quest into Orbis Party Quest up till 70 sounds like a fun idea, and I would love to do it, but for some reason, people stay away from Orbis Party Quest. But I think this is really cool, you know, just for the sake of making the class feel a little bit more active, giving them a variety of playstyle options, and essentially keeping them true as a support class, but making them a little bit more independent. It's not a full-on, okay, you're going to be solo grinding, but it keeps you a little bit more on your toes. And the fact that it doesn't clash with Iron Wall, I think, is a huge win. And it was a good thing that happened. Now, let's look at Holy Arrow. Holy Arrow had a big change too, right? Let's go to Master. At Master level, let's read the skill. Attacks monsters by firing Holy Arrow. Very effective against the undead or devil-based monsters. Pretty simple, right? But as you can see, it's a plural, Holy Arrows. And when we actually look at what the skill does, it uses 25 MP and hits 3 enemies. Not 3 times. On 3 enemies. Not 3 times per enemy. And I don't know how that will work out. If there's one enemy in front of you, does it hit that enemy 3 times? Or does it hit it 1 time? Not exactly sure how this is going to work. But, you know, it's going to be essentially with the heal being chopped down and being nerfed the way it is. I don't think clerics are going to have to use heal to grind anymore. They're essentially going to be a fire poison mage, but instead of shooting fire arrow, they're shooting Holy Arrow. I'm sure it'll do less damage than fire poison mages, but still, it's a different way of leveling, and honestly, I don't really see a flaw yet, but we have to kind of see how it plays out, right? Because we don't have all the information. We're kind of going off of very little information here. So that was the Cleric. Now we're going to see a little bit about the Bandit, which is another interesting and a hot topic of conversation amongst the Maplestory community. So we're going to look at Dagger Mastery, right? Dagger Mastery now gives crit rate. It used to not. In old school Maplestory, it just gave you a mastery level per level, all the way up to like mastery level 10. Master level is still to master the skill, you need 20 points, which is the same. And each level, it looks like, gives you a critical rate, all the way up to. So if we go to 20 here, it looks like at 20, the critical rate is at 20. So with the information that we already know, which is that in Maplestory Classic, all classes will have a 5% base crit rate. We know that already, right? And if that stays true, and that's already cemented, that means Dagger Mastery is going to add 20 more percent onto the crit, 5% crit, to give them 25% crit chance. So now bandits are going to have crit chance as second job advancement. Really cool. I think it's really cool. It makes the bandits a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more fun, but also they needed this. I think it's good for them that they got this buff. They were a little underwhelming second job advancement, I'm not gonna lie. They have their little highlight moment from like 45 to 55, but once assassins, bowmans hit 50 and 60, without crit, bandits had a really hard time competing with assassins and bowmans post 60. But now I don't think that will be the case with bandits having crit. So here we go. Dagger Booster. Dagger Booster is essentially the same, increases the dagger speed for a certain amount of time. The one thing that's different is that it says by 2 stages. My understanding of any type of booster skill, whether it's spear booster, bow booster, claw booster, in old school Maplestory, the attack speed was increased by 1 stage, 1 level. But it looks like in Maplestory Classic, that's not going to be the case, and it's going to be increased by 2 stages. So even at max level here, looks like for 300 seconds, it'll get 2 attack speed boost. Haste. So let's look at Haste. Haste has had a little bit of change, and from my understanding, is that the base speed and jump that each character will have from the moment of character creation is not going to be the same as what we're used to. I think the base speed and base jump is going to be 110 and either 105 or 110 for jump. I think it's going to be 105. It's going to be 110 speed and 105 jump. It's to kind of reduce I guess you're kind of modernizing the game from feeling very heavy and slow in the initial phase where people can get burnt out really fast. By giving a little bit of movement speed boost and a little bit of a jump boost, it alleviates that heavy, slow feeling. And I think that's what they were going for when they gave a boost in the base speed and base jump, essentially making them a little bit more mobile. But it seems like with Haste, when you start leveling Haste, the master level is 20, and by master level 20, you can see that at max level, it gives you plus 30 to speed and plus 10 for jump. Now this tells me, right, if you started the game at base stat is 110 speed, with Haste you now have max speed. Now jump is kind of odd, right, because it gives you plus 10 to jump, meaning if the base jump starts at 5, plus 10 jump will make it 15. So is 15 going to be the new max? Because it kind of doesn't make sense at max level to give 30 plus 30 speed, and if you have a base speed of 10, that means the max is 140, what we're used to, what we already know. But they're giving plus 10 to jump instead of 15. So it's one thing or the other. One is the base jump also starts at 10, which is kind of weird. If the base speed is at 10, I feel like the base jump should be at 5, but if it starts at 10, then it makes sense that Haste will elevate everybody's movement speed to the maximum. But if jump starts at 5 and max level haste gives jump plus 10, that means your jump with max haste only gives 115. So is 115 the new max? Or is it intentionally leaving some space for you to get jump stats from somewhere else to make up the deficit? I don't know, but I thought this was interesting. Plus 30 jump, or plus 30 speed and plus 10 to jump. The speed makes sense to me. I'm not exactly sure what to make of the jump. Plus 10 jump seems a little bit low. But like I said, maybe the base jump starts at 10. Savage Blow definitely got an upgrade. So let's see. Savage Blow already at level 1 is hitting the enemy 4 times with 40% damage. So I'll tell you a little issue about bandits and Savage Blow, and bandits in general. Right now I have a level 61 bandit in Mapleland. And in old school, because Mapleland is a 1-to-1 emulation of old school Maplestory, when I talk about Mapleland, I'm also talking about old school Maplestory. Bandits back in the day were really underwhelming, especially in second job advancement. One, we're going to talk about steal here in a bit when they show steal. Steal was a pointless skill. Two, Savage Blow, which is the reason most people play Bandit, was super underwhelming unless you put 21 points into that skill. You would rather use Lucky 7, not even double stab. So let's look at bandits and go way back, not the second job, but even the first job advancement. Bandits were one of those classes that really needed the rework because people played bandits and people did not play bandit the way they're supposed to be played. People had an idea, people wanted to play bandit, but everybody knew it was better to just play with a claw and throw stars. Even if you're throwing the most basic stars, it's better to level Lucky 7 and throw stars until level 50. And from level 50, when you have Haste mastered and at least 21 points in Savage Blow, then you can transition into a bandit and start wearing daggers. This is the general consensus in Mapleland. If you get double stab on the first job advancement as a bandit, you are a rare gem. You are playing for nostalgia. You're not playing the character right way. They have a name for that class. You want to be a bandit, but you play as an assassin in the first job advancement and even into the second job advancement, just doing lucky stars. They call that fusion thief. Fusion thief. They actually have a name for it. So when I played bandit, I leveled disorder and I leveled double stab, and I played true to how the bandit is supposed to play. But I can't even tell you how many times I would see someone playing a bandit in their second job advancement, but I would go to Looty Party Quest or Monster Carnival, and these bandits have a claw on and they're throwing stars. They're throwing Lucky 7 because double stab had a terrible damage algorithm, which was really shadowed by Lucky 7. Lucky 7 was so good that even the players that wanted to play the dagger thief, the bandits, would start throwing stars. Even if you didn't have good stars, it made sense to just throw stars. Not only was it ranged, it just did more damage, period. And Savage Blow was not good until you had at least 21 points in. To talk a little bit more about Savage Blow, here in the first level, you're already attacking 4 times with 40% damage. How it is in old school Maplestory at level 1 through like level 5, in the initial few levels, you only did 2 attack with Savage Blow. And the percentage was probably lower than 40%, if not at 40%. So imagine hitting 2 times with 40%. That's 80% damage. And the damage, because it's a multi-hitting skill, you know, when it's at max level, it hits 6 times. They can't really do much with the damage amplification. They can only give like 2% each level to the damage amplification. Because if you give it too much, then it's going to be way too overpowered by the time it's level 30. So there's multiple ways that the players and the community has proposed to fix this issue. One was reduce the master level from 30 to 20 and give more damage amplification per level, so bandits feel more viable, I guess, or you can start actually feeling like a bandit at earlier level. But it looks like here what they did was, instead of going that approach of reducing the master level to 20, they basically just said flat out, you're gonna hit the enemy 4 times from the get-go. And what does this do? You have a 40% attack damage per hit, hitting 4 times. You're already doing 160% damage at level 1, which beats double stab. Or no, it doesn't beat double stab yet, because I think double stab at max level, at level 20, in old school Maplestory, the damage amplification comes out to be 260%. 130% per hit, and you're doing 2 hit with double stab, so that's 260. But you can see they're trying to work around it, where it used to be you hit the enemy 2 times, now it's 4 times. So sooner your savage blow becomes viable a lot sooner than it did prior. So I want to say once he levels it up to about like level 5, we should see some significant damage changes, or like some make it significant enough. And another thing about thieves that change is that because they have a crit buff now, right? Because they have a base crit and then their mastery gives crit of 25% chance, the more times you attack an enemy per hit, the more chances of that individual hit becoming crit. So if you use double stab or lucky 7, you only have 2 damage lines that pop up, and you have 25% chance that the first line will do a crit, 25% chance that the second line will do a crit. And sometimes you might not do a crit, but with Savage Blow, it being a multi-hitting skill, and at max level hitting the enemy 6 times with 1 skill, each line gets its own individual percentage, like a chance to crit, which makes it a little bit more viable. So let's see if he levels it up. So you can see here, he's using Savage Blow, level 3, and you can see some crits coming up. And he only has a crit, let's say his base crit is 5%. We saw him level the mastery earlier. At 20 mastery, you have 20% crit chance. So with 5% base crit, you have 25% chance of critting, which kind of makes sense, because he's hitting them for 4 times and at least 1 line of damage is critting. Right, so let's see here if he crits. He's using Dark Sight. He's gonna ask the person to party. They want to see the party. Y'all want to party to test party EXP? And he says sure. He's gonna, oh, that one didn't crit. So he's leveling Savage Blow now. At level 5, he critted twice. At level 5, what was the... Level 5 attacks 4 times with 48% damage, right? So let's do quick math. What is that? It's like a little shy of 200% per damage. And then you incorporate the chance that it could crit. You're probably already using this over double stab at this point, right? So now they're gonna get in a party. Another cool thing we just saw, so he's gonna show us the party bonus amplification here. One thing we know about Maplestory Classic is that, I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but they're essentially giving more EXP, like bonus party EXP if you're in a party. That system already exists in Mapleland and I believe in other Maple servers. And I think it actually existed in actual Maplestory GMS server back in the day too. But I think they're trying to, because we don't have third job advancement yet, we don't know how Holy Symbol is going to come into play with all of this. But a lot of people are saying they're getting rid of Holy Symbol and just introducing more bonus EXP per party. So as you can see here, this is his party giving the EXP, right? This is his party killing the mob. And you can see that you receive +2 experience points from his party and then a +1 bonus EXP for party. So that system exists. Now, how useful is it going to be? How much of a difference is it going to be, or how much of a difference is it going to make? We'll see. We don't have enough information to really say, hey, this is a huge change. This is something that's going to change the playstyle and playstyle amongst people. But I think it's a good thing that it exists, because when people come and people party up and they see that bonus party EXP, they're gonna want to party up, and it's more of a push to get people to party up together and play together than to solo grind. So he's gonna max Savage Blow now. Let's see. And he maxes Savage Blow. 23, 24. We can see at max level here, it does 6 attacks with 100% damage. So essentially it got a 20% damage buff. The amount of times it hits the enemy stayed the same. It used to be 80%, so you would attack the enemy 6 times at 80%, which should give you 480% damage. But now it's at 100% damage, attacking 6 times with the 25% crit chance that it has for every attack. So Bandit's really got a huge buff. Just from, I think, more so than the boost and the buff on Savage Blow, the biggest buff that Bandit's got is the crit. Because Bandits are they're the only class that hits the enemy 6 times, more than 2 times, with a single skill as second job advancement. Crit is going to be huge on Bandits, and I think we'll see Bandits doing a lot of damage until third job advancement comes out. And even when third job advancement comes out, I think we'll see a lot of Bandit players playing Bandit. I do think Bandits got a huge buff, and they became more relevant now, and they can go on par and kind of play at the same level of an assassin when it comes to a damage. So Steel obviously got a change too. I think a lot of people knew this already. It says Steals one of the monster's items with a given success rate. On success, stuns the enemy for 1.5 seconds and increases weapon attack for 30 seconds. Steel works only once against the same monster and can be attempted until success. So, wow. Steel was a skill that was pretty much pointless and useless, and nobody used it. But now it essentially kept the original idea of what Steel was and what that skill did, and added a self buff of attack rating, giving yourself an attack rating for 30 seconds. And it actually does more damage than it did before. And I think one of the big ones is the 1.5 second stun that it does to enemies. I'll talk about all this. Let me get it to max level and we can talk more about it. So at max level, this is what it does. 90% chance to steal, apply a 200% in damage. So it does 200% damage. And on success, give plus 35 weapon attack for 30 seconds. That's huge. So let's talk about Steel for a second, because there's a lot of things to talk about here. Bandits already had stun with Boomerang Step and Assaulter. Now, are they going to change that? Because we don't know what Maplestory Classic is going to be like for Bandits in third job and fourth job advancement. But the fact that they're already getting a stun at second job advancement really emphasize and cements their identity of a strong thief class that does a lot of CC. If assassins are range and do a lot of damage from the backline and they have a lot of mobility, bandits are up close and they're CCing enemy as a bandit, as a true bandit. I mean, if you think about a ninja or whatever, they're kind of up in your face. They go behind you with Assaulter, stunning the enemy, steal your stuff, stun you again while getting, I guess, like a morale boost of the fact that they stole your goods and now they have a weapon attack buff on them for 30 seconds. I think it's very interesting. We have to see how this plays out, but I like that they made Steel a little bit more relevant, almost as important as the other skills that are important. Actually, probably one of the more important skills in the second job advancement than the other skills that exist in there. Haste is important, Savage Blow is important, Steal is important, Booster, Mastery. All these skills are going to be very important, and you're going to have to pick which one you want to level first. When I first looked at Steal, another thing that came to my mind is that, what about on bosses? Will this apply to boss mobs? And if it does apply to boss mobs, I thought about, well, I guess it's not as good because it says you can only use Steal once against the same monster. But then I thought, I guess it doesn't really matter too much, because let's say it works on a boss and you use it on a boss and you're in a Zakum raid or Horntail raid and you can't use Steal again on that mob because the buff only lasts for 30 seconds. It's not 300 seconds, it's 30 seconds. It's very short-lived. But what do they do? You know, what do they do? What do the bosses in these raids do? They spawn little monsters. So when Zakum or Horntail spawns their summons, their spawnlings, you can use Steal on those summons to keep the buff up and essentially have a constant plus 35 weapon attack for 30 seconds, even in a raid setting, right? If you think about Elishar at Ludi Party Quest, you don't just attack, you don't just attack Elishar. Elishar also summons little monsters that you can use Steal on to keep yourself buffed up with plus 35 weapon attack for 30 seconds. Now, let's use Mapleland as a reference for party training methods, right? Let's say the party training grounds does a transfer and now people are training in training grounds like they do in Mapleland. If you take a bandit or what's the third job advancement name? Chief Bandit, I believe. If you take a Chief Bandit into the Berks in Leafray, or at the Leafray Forest of Crossroads, or you take it to the battlegrounds against the Kentas, these guys, you can use Steal to keep yourself buffed up the entire party training duration. So I think this was not only good for you when you're mobbing, but it's also pretty much viable in all raid setting, given that the raids stay the same and they summon little monsters for you to use Steal on. A huge buff. I mean, this is going to be huge. Plus 35 weapon attack at face value, without really considering how much the game is going to be different and the whole what plus one weapon attack actually means. Not considering all that stuff, just looking at it, just taking it for face value, I feel like Steal is a huge buff for the Bandit, and it's going to make bandits really strong at second job advancement. You got Savage Blow that got a buff, got Crit now, and then you got Steal, which is giving you a plus 35 weapon attack damage for 30 seconds that you can continuously keep up. And then you got a Haste, an S tier party utility skill. You know, there's a lot of things going for bandits right now, I think, and they seem really cool. They seem really good. Here's another skill that's new. I want to say this is probably going to be universal to all thieves. Assassins will probably have this too, I would assume. Maybe they won't. But here's Nimble Recovery, a new skill in Maplestory Classic for thieves. Recover HP and MP with a certain chance when evading, and not recover again within 30 seconds after a recovery. So let's see when he masters it what the value comes out to be. Oh. So I can't get the timing right for level 20, but let's kind of just go based off of this. At level 19, it recovers 9% HP, 9% MP, with a 92% chance when evading. But here's the thing. I just think that's really, really broken. And essentially, right now in Mapleland and in Maplestory in general, when you play a bandit, you have to spend a lot of money. It's very costly because they're one of those. They're an attacker that's in your face, in the enemy's face, and they have to grind with the shortest range that exists. They have to be essentially body slamming the enemies to get their attacks off, especially in second job advancement with Savage Blow. Now with Assaulter in the third job advancement, it kind of makes things a little bit more bearable, and then you have Meso Guard that helps you, but still it uses more money than a Hermit, because the element of being a melee character with the shortest reach and having to be like right on the enemy's face is such a huge portion of why it's such a huge con and negative to the character, that even if you have like Assaulter, which you can essentially teleport behind an enemy and stun them, you're still gonna get hit a lot and spend a lot of money. But with an introduction of Nimble Recovery, I think that's gonna be gapped. I think that's gonna bridge the gap and essentially make the class a little bit more easier to play, a little bit more meso friendly. Now, as the game goes on, as you progress and level more and more and more, and you become a higher level bandit, right? That skill is gonna be so OP. With the fact that you're already a bandit with high avoidability, enemies are gonna be missing you 50% of the time, if not more. And if the fourth job skill Fake stays the same, which it probably won't, because I think at that point you will never get hit. You have high avoidability, and every time you avoid within 30 seconds, once every 30 seconds, you're recovering HP and MP, and when you don't avoid, Fake triggers and you don't get hit, because what Fake does is, Fake is essentially a percentage chance that when an enemy hits you, I think it's like 25% chance that Fake triggers and it completely misses, right? The enemy completely misses. So on top of having high avoidability, on top of having Fake, and now you heal every 30 seconds when an enemy misses. And I don't know if evade just means miss, or if it also means like when Fake gets triggered. You can kind of see where I'm going. It's really broken, and I kind of worry that it's too broken as you go into the higher levels. But essentially, this is a new skill that got added, and I think it's good. As a Bandit fan, and as someone that might play Bandit, I'm stuck between a crossbowman and a Bandit. I love seeing the changes. I love seeing that Bandit is going to be on par in terms of damage and just viability with the Assassin. I love seeing these changes. Let's see what else he shows us. Disorder. Let's look at Disorder here. At max level, he's just leveling this. Okay. Disorder essentially does the same thing too. Temporarily decreases the weapon attack and weapon defense of an enemy. The one thing that's new is that it dissuades the enemy from attacking you. Is this really viable? I mean, I'm trying to think of a scenario where this is viable. I don't see it. I just don't think this is going to be that significant, even with the new element of making the enemy, like dissuading the enemy from attacking you. You're still in the enemy's face. Maybe they won't attack you with magic attack. Maybe it's going to be more viable than I'm assuming, but I just don't see this being used. Not a lot has changed from original old school Maplestory. I personally leveled Disorder just for the nostalgic value when I was training my Bandit, but I think most people will forego this. But it looks like you might have points left over. Maybe you'll just, I don't know. We'll see how Disorder plays out. Was there more? Double stab. Here's double stab, right? Double stab definitely got a buff. At level 1, it's already at 118%. So just kind of give you an idea how significant and how much of a buff that is. Double stab at max level in old school Maplestory was 130%. And already at level 2, you're getting to 121. It's a huge buff. So by level 5, I think you're at 130%. Yep, at level 5, we just saw it right there. Try to pause it on the time. Here. At level 5, it's already at 130%, as we can see. At level 6, at 133. Like I said, at max level in old school Maplestory, level 20 double stab did 130% per hit. So you can see how much of a buff this is. And this all goes back to me talking about the playstyle of bandits and how it was really discouraged from the community to play the traditional bandit the way it's supposed to. Everybody just would want to play bandit for their 3rd job or 4th job advancement, but all the way up to level 50, I've seen bandits use claw and would rather use lucky 7 instead of using double stab. And I think this is to combat that. They want to give a huge buff to double stab, make sure people aren't throwing lucky 7 when they're a bandit. Clearly, if you're a bandit, you should be using a dagger. And unless you had a strong attachment to the character and its identity, or you're playing for nostalgia, most people, what they did, 80% of the dagger thieves and bandits up to level 45-50 would just wear a claw and throw lucky 7, and they didn't even have good stars. They would just throw the regular old stars and it still did more damage. You know, it was still more viable. So he's here leveling double stab at max level. Let's see what it's at max level. It does 175%. That means it's doing 350% at max level. So when we look at Savage Blow, I can't remember what the damage was initially. I think it was like 40% and you hit 4 times. At level 1, it does 160%. Max level double stab is doing 350%. Now we gotta, of course, incorporate the idea of crit and all that into it. But this is a huge, I mean, like, just insane amount of boost for insane amount of buff into double stab. It's a lot of percentage that it went up. He's showing the items. Everything looks pretty similar and the same. Now here's another thing interesting, right? The earring has a critical damage option in the earring. I looked at all the other items. Here, we'll see it real quick. All the other items are pretty neutral. It's about the same. The top and the bottom have just your regular HP boost, luck boost, weapon defense boosts. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's pretty standard. Avoidability. All of these are secondary stats that it's good to have, but it doesn't break the game. But when we go back to the earring, you can see the earring has an option that says critical damage, right? And I think 4 is supposed to be the standard, but this one came out to be substandard item, so it's at 3. This is interesting, but it also worries me. Every MMO that I've played, now granted that the only critical damage option that I see on his kit is on an accessory, which puts a lot more emphasis on the importance of accessory. But it still worries me because the fact that this option exists as a critical damage, they've already opened the gate that items could have a crit rating associated to that item. Now what does that mean? Every time I played an MMO, right, modern MMO, old MMO, when an item comes with either a crit damage boost or crit rating boost, it essentially becomes the one and only meta to seek an item with crit rating attached to it and the highest crit. So forget about the fact that it has a magic defense plus 26. Who cares? The fact that it has an HP, the fact that it has avoidability, accuracy, these things still matter in Mapleland. For warriors, accuracy is a secondary stat and it's sought after. If you have +1 more accuracy on an item, that has its own market and a price tag to it. But I worry that they've opened the door and realm with critical damage being on an item. Although granted, it's just on an accessory for now on an earring, it still makes me a little wary. I'm excited and I want to see how it happens. I'm trying to be optimistic, but every MMO that I've seen, when there's a critical damage or critical rate option attached to it, it usually goes one way, which is the meta becomes all about critical damage. Hopefully they can figure that out and not make the game go in that direction. Oh, that's another interesting thing that I saw in this. Well, nothing interesting here. That's so much damage though. Isn't Power Strike 260%? I'm not sure. But warriors also have Power Blast, right? Which is a mobbing skill that bandits really don't have. So maybe they're trying to make bandits cement the identity of a bandit being a high hitting, high DPS, single target class. Just like an assassin. Assassins were, even up until Night Lords, they're a single target, high damage producing class, and that identity is so cemented that there is no debate about what the identity of Night Lord is. When you say Night Lord, what do you immediately think of? Oh, he's playing for damage. Oh, he's gonna do the most damage, right? And maybe they're just trying to bring the bandit up to that standard and up to like the level of a Night Lord, so they're more viable, so people just don't default into the Night Lord. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that was it, really. One more cool thing that I saw from this video is the pattern of Savage Blow is different now. So as you can see here, it kind of goes in a zigzag form. It's nothing crazy, nothing like that, but Savage Blow doesn't go like this in old school Maplestory and in Mapleland. It usually just go in a straight staggered like a stair format. It goes up in diagonal one way. But Savage Blow, it looks like in Maplestory Classic, is more staggered. It's kind of like it's zigzag form. And also, you know, the guard is really interesting. If you wear a shield, it looks like it's going to be a new element that gets introduced to the game. You can guard. You can also there's miss and guard, because I've seen miss, but they definitely added something new for the shield users, making the shield a little bit more viable, encouraging people to use shields in their build. I think it's really cool. There is a part in this video where he attacks a orange mushroom and he misses. So I thought that, I was like, wait, how is he a level 50 bandit and he misses on an orange mushroom? I don't know, maybe it was a bug, but every other time he uses Savage Blow on a monster, even at a higher level monster, I haven't seen him miss. I thought that was kind of interesting. But anyways, that's that video. We only got to see Cleric and Bandit from this video, but I thought it was really cool. I wanted to share this with you guys and yeah, and kind of hear your guys' opinion and what you guys think. I'm really excited. I want the game to come out. I want to play with my buddies and friends, and you know, I'm sure a lot of you will join us, not us per se as a group, but just joining the community into playing Maplestory Classic. And if you guys decide to join us, our guild, you guys are more than welcome to join us and play together. I plan on having a guild and playing with my friends and my viewers who are all like-minded. I'm not gonna play for meta. I'm not trying to get world first. I'm not trying to get server first. I'm more about having a good time, and I'm more about enjoying the game and adventuring in the game. So when I go on raids, when I do party quests, I'm not going to be enforcing, you know, like we need to have four Night Lords, a Dragon Knight, and a Priest in a party for maximum damage efficiency. No, I plan on doing Zac raids, Horntail raids, and I plan on being the leader and taking people with me. And even if you're a Fire Poison Mage, Ice Lightning Mage, a Paladin, whatever it is, I want to strongly emphasize fun. And but at the same time, I want people to not be so laxed in a group setting. I want people to join that are willing to take orders and understand that there needs to be an element of hierarchy in organized setting, especially something like a raid. But I'm gonna try to find that balance well. So even if you play an off meta, a secondary meta class, I want to invite you to come join me on conquering Zakum together. But it needs to be with like-minded people, right? We're gonna be in a lax setting, but with strong grip on making the run feel formal and professional when we need to, right? Like when I need to give orders, I need people to follow orders, but we're not going to be aiming for like server first or anything like that. I just want to enjoy the game for what it is. I want people to play what they want to play and still feel like they can raid and be in a setting where it's intense and tight and you get to sweat a little bit playing your character, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, you're only coming to the Zakum raid or Horntail raid if you're a Bowmaster or Knight Lord or a Bishop. It's for me too. I want to experience going to Zakum raid with a bunch of different classes and seeing how it works out and having a good time. So anyways, that was the Maplestory Classic World skill reaction commentary. With that, I am actually going to get off today because I was supposed to get off about an hour ago, but I wanted to do this video real quick and share with you guys what I saw. But yeah, I stream Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to usually 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes I go a little bit overboard. But if you guys are new here, if you guys are new to my channel, make sure you like my video, give me a like on the video, and subscribe and come hang out with me. I play Maple Land on my off time. Let me reduce this size here. I play Maple Land for now on the Korean server. And yeah, I kind of hang out and chat with people, and we talk a lot about Maplestory Classic and anything in life, not just Maplestory. Sometimes, like this morning, I talked about my nightmare that I had last night, and a little bit of a learning moment or an insightful moment just from that nightmare, and share that with people, whatever it may be. But I'm gonna get off today. I got things I gotta do. So tomorrow I'm off. Tomorrow's Sunday. I don't stream tomorrow, but I'll be back live Monday, 9 a.m. EST. For those who've stayed with me for the past, 6 hours, thank you for tuning in and spending the day with me and keeping me company. I'll see all of you Monday. 오늘 방송은 여기까지 하고 내일은 휴방이니까 방송을 안 하고 월요일날 방송 저녁 11시에 키도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 방송 되게 길게 했는데 하루 종일 같이 시청해주시고 소통해주시며 시간 같이 보내주신 분들 감사하고, 월요일날 다시 오셔서 저랑 시간 같이 보냈으면 좋겠네요. 새벽을. 그럼 전 이만 가보겠습니다. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe. And I'll see you guys Monday. Bye bye.